I take the same route to work every morning. 26 minutes, 3 stoplights, 2 tunnels, 1 exact playlist. It's not exciting, but it's reliable. I like reliable. So when I started my car Tuesday morning and saw a man sitting in the passenger seat, I was confused, not scared, not yet, just thrown off. He looked clean-cut, early 30s maybe, neatly dressed, dark coat, hands folded politely in his lap, like he belonged there. I blinked. Can I help you?" He looked at me with a soft smile. "I'm your passenger." My throat tightened. I looked around the street. Empty. "I didn't pick anyone up," I said. He didn't move. "You did. You just don't remember." And then he reached into his coat. I flinched, already gripping my phone, but he pulled out a photograph instead. Of me, driving, and him, sitting beside me in the passenger seat. I stared at it. It looked recent. Same hoodie, same haircut, the same tired eyes I saw in the mirror that morning. I looked back up. He was gone, just gone. The passenger seat was empty. I opened the car door and stepped out, scanning the street. Nothing, no sign of him, no footsteps, no sound. But the photo, still sitting on the seat. I picked it up with shaking hands. On the back, scrawled in block letters, were 5 words. "Remember the promise you made." I don't remember making any promises, at least, not to him. But something about the way he looked at me, like he'd been riding along for years, like he'd never really left. That's when I realized this wasn't just in my head. This was a message. The photo haunted me all day. I kept taking it out of my pocket, turning it over, hoping the words on the back had changed, that I'd misread them, that it was some elaborate prank I'd soon figure out. But the photo was always the same. Me, the man, the passenger seat. "Remember the promise you made." It echoed in my head like a looped audio file. By the time I got home, my hands were shaking. I locked the doors, closed all the windows, checked every room twice. It didn't help. That night, I dreamt about a road. Endless, moonlit. I was driving, but the wheel wouldn't move. My hands were on it, but I wasn't steering. And beside me, in the passenger seat, was him. Silent, calm, just watching. I woke up in a cold sweat, heart pounding. My alarm buzzed. It was Wednesday, and something told me he'd be back. I ran out to my car, looked in the window, empty. I exhaled, but when I opened the door, there was something taped to the steering wheel. Another photo. This one different. In it, I wasn't smiling. I looked terrified. My hands clutched the wheel like a lifeline. The man was still there, still calm, but smiling wider. Behind the photo was a new message. "You broke it, now fix it." Fix what? The promise? A memory stirred, a flash, snow, headlights, music cutting off mid-song. Then the radio in my real car turned on. Static, then a voice, his voice. "Do you remember what happened last winter?" I don't. But now, I think I'm going to. That morning, I took a different route, avoided the tunnels, turned off the radio, rolled down the windows even though it was cold. I told myself it was just to clear my head. But the truth? I was scared of hearing his voice again. I pulled into work and parked as far away from the building as I could, like distance would give me perspective. It didn't. All day, I kept seeing him in the corners of my eyes, in reflections, glass, dark windows, a silhouette, a flash of that dark coat. But when I looked, there was nothing there. On my break, I Googled the phrase from the photo, "You broke it, now fix it." Nothing helpful, but I found something else, an article. Accident on Highway 9, January 14th. 1 fatality, woman in her 20s, passenger side impact. No names listed. I didn't remember seeing that headline before. But the date? It felt too familiar. I went to my car after work, heart thudding, palms sweaty. There was a third photo waiting for me. This one was worse. It showed my car, wrecked, wrapped around a tree, headlights shattered, the front crushed inward like paper. And in the driver's seat, me. In the passenger seat? No one, but behind the car, standing on the road, him. looking right at the camera and smiling. I dropped the photo, got into the car. The radio turned on by itself. His voice crackled through the static. She was there. You were driving and you forgot her. I screamed, "Who?" But the voice didn't answer, only the silence did, and somehow it was worse than the static. I didn't sleep again. I stayed up digging through drawers, closets, even the attic, looking for something. Anything that would explain the dreams, the photos, the voice. At 2:17 a.m., I checked my car again. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I faced it, it would go away. I opened the passenger side door and saw it. A small leather-bound notebook tucked under the seat. I pulled it out. It smelled like dust and old air freshener. The cover was worn, the corners cracked. But it was real. On the first page, handwritten in tight block letters, "Passenger log, property of Miles." That was his name. Miles. I flipped through the pages. Each one listed a ride, date, route, driver, passenger. Sometimes it was names, sometimes just initials. All of them ended with the word "forgotten," except one. January 14th, driver David. Passenger Anna. Outcome crash. Status. The last word was smudged, almost erased. But I could still read it. Recalled. I dropped the notebook, and the radio turned on again. Miles's voice, clear this time. "You made a deal. To forget." I took that memory. You asked me to. "Why?" I whispered. "To keep driving, to keep functioning." But she didn't ask to be forgotten. My knees buckled. I slumped into the seat. A name finally returned to me. Anna, and with it the cold, the crash, the screaming, and the silence that followed. Her name felt heavy in my mouth. Anna. I hadn't said it out loud in a long time. Maybe years. Maybe not at all. I sat in my car, whispering it like a confession. The memories began to return, piecing themselves together like jagged glass. We met at a mutual friend's party. She hated crowds, I hated myself. Somehow, that worked. We went on 3 dates before it turned into 8. We laughed about the same stupid jokes. She made me tea I pretended to like. I taught her how to parallel park badly. It wasn't a forever thing. But it could have been. Our last drive was supposed to be a weekend trip. Her parents' cabin, first snow of the season. I remember the heater blasting, the playlist we'd made together. She had her hand on mine. Then came the curve, too fast, too sharp. And everything went white. I remember crawling out of the wreck, blood in my mouth, snow in my teeth. Anna didn't follow. I stayed for 5 minutes, maybe less. I ran. I told the hospital I was alone, said I'd hit a deer. I don't even know why. Fear, shame, a concussion. But something bigger, darker followed me home. And Miles, he wasn't a man. He was a memory, a manifestation of what I asked for. Make me forget. But now that I remembered, he was back. Because Anna still hadn't been remembered, not really, and she deserved better than a blank space in my past. She deserved a name, a story, and a goodbye. The next morning, I drove, back to where it happened. The road looked different, more trees, fewer signs, but the curve, I knew it. I parked where the car had landed. The tree was still there, its bark split like an open wound, scars from impact still visible, like time had refused to let it forget either. There were flowers at its base, faded, weathered, someone had come before. I sat there for an hour, then 2, trying to find the words. Eventually I spoke. "Anna, I'm sorry." My voice broke halfway through. I should have stayed. I should have owned it. I should have... A wind moved through the trees, and I felt it. Not warmth, not forgiveness, but a shift. The weight of silence lightening. I turned to the passenger seat. Empty. But I saw the edge of the notebook again. One last entry had been added. Passenger Anna. Status. Remembered. And beneath it, one more line. Debt repaid. I opened the glove box. Inside was one last photo. Not of the crash, not of Miles, just me and Anna. Sitting at a roadside diner, coffee between us. She was laughing. I don't remember who took the photo, but I'm glad someone did. I moved a month later, new apartment, new car, new playlist, but I kept the photo. Not to punish myself, but to remember. Because forgetting isn't healing, it's hiding. And Anna? She didn't deserve to be hidden. Sometimes, when I'm on a long drive, I glance at the passenger seat. It's empty now, but not in a bad way. It's peaceful. Like whatever haunted that space has found rest. I haven't seen Miles since that day. I don't think I will. He did his job. He held the memory until I was ready to take it back. And now it's mine again. All of it. The pain, the beauty, the truth. So if you're listening and there's something you've locked away, someone you've left behind, ask yourself why. Ask yourself what it's costing you, because the longer you avoid it, the louder it knocks. And sometimes it rides beside you, quietly, until you remember the promise you made.